And now talk to us about your success mantra, as in the top three things that have contributed to your success so far.
My success mantra, top three things. One, consistency. Two, consistency. Three, consistency. I always believe. Take the example of Bruce Lee. I think many of the listeners or you probably know the story. Bruce Lee had one of his legs is shorter than the other, a bit an inch shorter than the other, and he had an eyesight of -4 and beyond. But still, Bruce Lee is Bruce Lee just because of his consistency. I think consistency beats talent, consistency beats hard work, consistency beats smart work.
Santosh, how do you help people build a coaching mindset? And is there any technique that you use?
Yes, Naveen. I have developed, I have done a lot of exploration. I spoke to different people. I saw different, my leaders using it, me using it, and everywhere. And I have come up with a small framework called as LEAD, LEAD.
So, folks, you have tuned into TGB and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So, folks, we are joined by Santosh Akella. He is an learning and development professional, keynote speaker, and coaching mindset mentor. He has experience in training, facilitation, and instructional design with multiple MNCs. And apart from his work, he is also a keynote speaker who helps individuals, managers, and leaders adapt a coaching mindset and leadership style. Santosh has spoken at more than 150 events in India till date and has also coached TEDx speakers in the past. So today we are going to have an interesting conversation on the topic at hand, leading with purpose, building a coaching mindset for lasting impact. But before we get started, here is an exciting twist as always. First, let us tickle our guest's brain. So, Santosh, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you are ready, let's get started.
Sure, Naveen. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me onto this podcast. It has been in fact, I should confess that it has been my dream to be on this Guiding Voice podcast, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, Naveen, let's get started.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
My first word for you is curiosity.
Curiosity, I think the first word that comes to my mind is it's the mother of discovery.
All right. Invention.
Again, invention is also, when you say invention, I remember curiosity. It's either or.
Okay. Future.
Future is all about empathy and co-living with artificial intelligence.
Universe.
It's all about manifestation. What you manifest, the universe gives you back.
Leadership.
When you say leadership, the coaching leadership style that I always propagate.
Transformation.
Again, when you say transformation, I think it's ever evolving thing. You can say myself, I can say it's me. Transformation is me. And you should say you. Everybody should say yes. They are their own transformation.
Influence
Without authority. Coaching again.
Wonderful. And here comes the last word, mindfulness.
Mindfulness is being in the present, that I most of the times lack because of my trait of being more energetic and influential, but it's about being in the moment.
Superb. I loved all your responses, and thank you so much for participating in the First rapid fire round so sportively, and there is one more rapid fire round towards the end of the episode. So stay tuned. And first of all, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. And thank you so much for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. How are you doing today?
I am doing great today, Naveen. I am very glad, I am very grateful that I exist, and also I am able to work in, do the work, the kind of work that I would like to do professionally, or having my own passion projects and anything. I think I'm doing great. How are you doing, Naveen?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. So, Santosh, talk to us about your guiding voice.
My guiding voice, if you ask me, it is more about impacting and influencing people. It's more about helping others. I mean, directly helping others. Whatever endeavor you step into, of course, you will help people, but I feel it's more about directly involving with them, like the profession that I'm into, learning and development and instructional design. For those who are new to the term, instructional design is nothing but e-learning or learning content design. I think this is something that gives an opportunity to me to develop people directly, teaching people skills. That's my guiding voice.
Okay, so profound. And now talk to us about your success mantra, as in the top three things that have contributed to your success so far.
My success mantra, top three things: one, consistency; two, consistency; three, consistency. I always believe,
Spot on.
I always believe that consistency is the key. I'll tell you, take the example of Bruce Lee. I think many of the listeners or you would probably know the story. Bruce Lee had probably lot of physical problems, like one of his legs is shorter than the other, a bit an inch shorter than the other, and he had an eyesight of -4 and beyond, but still Bruce Lee is Bruce Lee just because of his consistency. I think consistency beats talent, consistency beats hard work, consistency beats smart work, and that's my success mantra.
Superb. In fact, consistency is TGV's success as well. Ever since we started, we have never missed posting an episode. Okay, be it any language. Love it. All right, so let's cruise into the topic, right? So, why do you think a coaching mindset particularly vital for leaders in today's work environment?
Sure, Naveen, thanks. I'm glad that you have asked this question. At one point in time, in right from say 1930s till 1990s, we were in an industrial revolution, or you can call that industry 3.0. Things were working on mass production. If I learn one skill today, I'll just sit there, do that for my lifetime. The more I do it, I'll make more money, or more, I'll get more growth. But come 1990s, of course, right from 1985s, with the advent of computers, things started moving quickly, which is innovation. It is no more as increasingly as today. It was no more that you learn a skill and do it, use it for the lifetime. No. Today, I think we are meeting on this riverside. This is the first time I am on riverside platform. Earlier I was on Zoom, Teams and all these things. So see, you helped me today to grow. Had I said I don't want to come onto this platform, please interview me on Zoom, I am not going to do that. And what did you do today? You coached me, you helped me set up my lighting. I mean, people don't know before this show started, you helped me in multiple ways how to join. You are giving me instructions and a lot of things. Now that is where coaching leadership style and coaching mindset comes into play. It is not that I will learn one skill and do it for my lifetime. I have to keep learning on the job. And that is where this kind of coaching leadership style becomes even more important.
I love the metaphor that you have used. In fact, that's a live example. Wonderful. So, Santosh, how do you help people build a coaching mindset? And is there any technique that you use?
Yes, Naveen. I have done a lot of exploration. I spoke to different people. I saw different, my leaders using it, me using it, and everywhere. And I have come up with a small framework called as lead. L-E-A-D. Now, what is this lead? There are 4 things in this. 1, L for listen. You listen attentively. You listen actively. Then the second letter in lead framework is E, which is empathize. How do you empathize with people? Then the third letter in the lead framework is A, ask questions. How do you ask the right questions so that people will be able to reflect and change from inside, not just from outside? And finally, the D, which is develop. This D has 2 parts. First part is, of course, developing people. How? Through constructive feedback. Giving right feedback in the right way, at the right moment, before the right audience, to the right person. And the second part of D, develop, is developing more leaders. That's the leader's greatest return. So this is the lead framework, which is listen, empathize, ask right questions, and develop people. So someone who does all these 4 things, he or she is going to be a leader who uses coaching leadership style. And once done for a prolonged period of time, they adopt this mindset subconsciously and they start doing these things. So this is the technique that I use.
I love the D part, essentially developing the leaders, right? That is our responsibility. So that if we are able to help people in identifying their potential in terms of taking bigger challenges and at least do something which they have not done before, that would be amazing, right? Super. All right, so let's cruise forward. And are there any technicalities that you use in executing this lead framework?
Yes, in fact, if you look at the framework, it's pretty simple, straightforward. There is no rocket science in that, right? However, in order to, as I said, mindset, in order to build a mindset, there is a need to use a lot of, it's not a lot of, I don't want to overwhelm people. I love keeping things pretty simple. There is a need to use some psychological techniques. Now, I have a background in psychology. I have done my master's in organizational psychology. So using that and different techniques and different kinds of courses that I've been fortunate enough to do, I use 4 technicalities to build this. Now, what are they? I use a blend of NLP, which is Neuro Linguistic Programming, sports psychology, transactional analysis, which is TA, we call it. TA is not talent acquisition. I just joke about that with everyone. Okay, TA is transactional analysis. And then finally, neuroscience. These are the 4 things. So NLP, sports psychology, transactional analysis, and neuroscience. These are the 4 things that I use to kind of help people build a coaching mindset using the lead framework that I have developed.
Got it. And now let's double click on those 4 elements or the 4 techniques. So maybe we'll start with the neuro linguistic processing, right? So talk to us more about NLP.
Yeah, sure. Now, neuro linguistic programming, this was developed by a gentleman named Richard Blandler. What this person has done, it's pretty simple. As I said, that looks quite overwhelming, neuro linguistic programming, but it's not that difficult. Now let's break it. Neuro linguistic and programming. What is neuro? Neuro is nothing but thoughts. Then linguistic is nothing but language. Programming is nothing but programming your thoughts and language together to create patterns of behavior. That is nothing but neuro-linguistic programming. I'll give you a very simple example. There are a number of neuro-linguistic programming techniques. In fact, I am a certified NLP practitioner. And one of these techniques that I love is called anchoring. What is it? Anchoring. Now, what is an anchor? Right now, you're wearing a blazer. Now, once you are done with this interview, probably this is winter, so you don't want to take it off. But in summer, say, after this interview, you'll just take it off and put it on an anchor, right? Now, anchoring is nothing but just doing that. How? I'll tell you. Say you are in a job in sales or marketing where you present a lot on a daily basis. And when you are presenting, and today, irrespective of someone is presenting, talking, or doing anything, people tend to take out their smartphones and use them. But of course, you can't be very harsh at people. You have to be nice to them. Even though they're using mobile phones, you have to be nice to them unless and until they're your, say, colleagues or someone who you deal with for, you have dealt with for years together. We have to be nice with them. And some people have this habit of bashing others when they use a mobile phone when they're speaking. Now, what do we do in anchoring is for such people. Now, this is a behavior that comes because of a trigger. The trigger is someone using a mobile phone. The behavior is that I bash them. What do we do here is Neural Linguistic Programming. Now, thoughts are that I am getting irritated. Linguistic is language. Now, language can be verbal or non-verbal. With anchoring, we have a non-verbal cue that we associate with that behavior to stop it. Now, I'll tell people who come to me, someone who comes to me and tells us this is my problem, I'll tell them that, okay, whenever someone is using mobile phone before you and you're getting irksome, what you do is maybe you start rubbing your ear, or maybe you start, just clasping your hands for a while, right? All these things. I mean, I can't resist but bring this here because I always love blending fun movies and everything in all the learnings that we do. We have this very famous South Indian hero, Pawan Kalyan, one of these actors who does this, right? Now, in fact, that is anchoring. Whenever I teach anchoring, I tend to use this. Now, this is something that he uses in those movies to show certain characteristics, right? So, ultimately, what we do is we tend to use this and we practice this multiple times. I am getting irritated because of certain trigger. Say I will scratch near my beard, or say I will just remove my, just kind of move my watch a bit, or say readjust my specs or whatever it is. Associate with that and then repeatedly do this so that you program your thoughts and behavior. So this is an example of neuro linguistic programming.
Wow. I love it. So this NLP speaks about aligning language with the brain. Then let's go to the second one, which is neuroscience. What is neuroscience?
Now, as I said, all these things are essentially the same things, but different ways of looking at things. Now, neuroscience is nothing but using our, it's a study, in fact, it's a study of how our nervous system influences our behavior. Here we speak about certain chemicals that get released in our body, certain technical aspects, certain chemicals that brain secretes on day-to-day basis. To give you example, we spoke about the lead framework in which the last letter is D, which is develop. And that happens when we give the right feedback, right? Now, giving feedback, there is a right way and there is a wrong way. Now, there is a right way and there is a wrong way. Now, how do we give it the right way? There is a method or a neuroscience behind this madness. It is always said that you praise someone first before you give them feedback. Say probably Naveen, I'll come to you after this podcast and I will ask you, I'll never shy away from asking feedback. How did I do? How did I respond to your answers? You can respond in two ways. The first way is you will say that, Santosh, first of all, you have, come very much unprepared and everything. These things didn't go well. You may directly start telling me things that didn't go well. Now, what happens when people are receiving feedback is, irrespective of I'm asking for feedback or I'm getting an unsolicited feedback, the moment someone tells me points for improvement, not me, but everyone, there is an enzyme that gets released which is called as cortisol. Cortisol. The cortisol is a stress hormone that nullifies or that kills the logical thinking part of the brain. Now, the moment someone first gives me points for improvement, I will stop thinking. I will become defensive. Now imagine that I am coming to you again, the second case in scenario. Okay, Naveen, give me some feedback. Then you will start telling Santosh, you know what, the responses you shared, the anecdotes you shared, everything is good. But these are 1 to 2 things that you may just work on. I'll be very happy with the feedback. Why? This time, right at the start, you are making me secrete something called as oxytocin. Oxytocin is a love hormone that gives more endorphins in the body, and then that makes me feel good. And then you give recommendation, still there is a cortisol spike, but because there is already the happy hormone that gets nullified, or actually oxytocin actually dominates the behavior. Now telling someone that first you need to praise and then give your recommendations or your feedback, they will always ask you for some supporting points, right? Because people want logic behind everything. So neuroscience help us add this logic behind things. So this way, the study of nervous system actually helps us understand what influences our behavior.
Wonderful. So far we have discussed NLP and then neuroscience, and let's get into the third one because I'm interested in sports as well. So, what lessons from the sports psychology can be applied to leadership and team dynamics, and how do you integrate these into your coaching sessions?
Now, when it comes to sports psychology, again, sports psychology, as the name itself suggests, is it's about the mental and emotional factors that influence athletic performance. At the same time, there can also be mental and emotional factors that can affect an individual's performance or a leader's performance when they are using a coaching leadership style. Now, there are multiple things like visualizing things. Say someone wants to adopt coaching leadership style, they can start visualizing they listening attentively to someone. They can start visualizing giving feedback the way we have just now discussed. They can start visualizing things. And also there is something called as goal setting that we do. Now in sports, goal setting is not just outcome based. In the corporate, it's mostly outcome based, but in sports, there are two types of goals: outcome based goals and process oriented goals. What are process oriented goals? For everything that I have to do, there is a checklist. Am I waking up early in the morning? Am I taking the right diet? Am I practicing? Am I exercising well? Am I doing all the things which are required in the checklist? I'm still losing the game. That's absolutely fine. If my process oriented goals are 150% met. Now just think about it. And that's how our very Captain Cool Mahendra Singh Dhoni does, right? He just focuses on the process. Because it's always that people fail, processes won't. And one more thing that I absolutely love about this sports psychology is, Naveen, I'll tell you one. I'm reading a book currently, which is The Barefoot Coach by Paddy Upton. Paddy Upton has been the mental conditioning coach for Indian cricket team and multiple teams, sports teams across the world. And has written this beautiful book. And in that he shares an anecdote on values. And that anecdote goes like this. One day, Ishant Sharma, it's long back in 2011, he was practicing in the nets. He's a bowler, right? He started bowling. And after a couple of deliveries that were not as expected, Ishant Sharma just bashes the ball there. He just throws the ball there. And then there, Sachin Tendulkar standing there, he just picks up the ball very carefully, brings it to Ishant Sharma and says, we have to respect this because this is what is everything for us. Now there, Sachin displayed the value of, valuing things. He has displayed the value of holding that gratitude. For him, cricket or anything related to cricket is the ultimate, it's the epitome. So I think these are some of the great takeaways. I normally show a lot of case studies from people. How do they do? How do they coach? How do they lead to teach people these things using sports psychology?
Yep. All right. Good. And now let's go to the final one. So, how does this transactional analysis shape the way leaders interact with their teams. And I'm really curious, like, what do you mean by transaction analysis in the first place? Because is it like the kind of work that we do? Okay, saying that, okay, you execute this, I'm done with the transaction, or how does it work? And also, what are the benefits of this technique?
Yeah, sure. A transaction is nothing but a conversation between two people. Now, today, you and I, we both are speaking. Now, transactional analysis is nothing but the analysis of how do people communicate. I think I have done this certification TA101, which is transactional analysis introductory course that I have done, wherein I have learned this, like how do people communicate, and because of these communications, how do our thoughts, feelings, and behavior gets influenced. Now, as I said, all these four, NLP or sports psychology or neuroscience or transactional analysis, ultimately the outcome is the same, but the way you think. Now, whereas NLP gives you those behavioral things that you can practice, neuroscience gives why something is to be done in such a way, whereas sports psychology gives you that motivation or anecdotes or some things like that. Transactional analysis is different. This is about more about the conversations. How do you deal with these three things in place? Now, in this, there are most importantly three things that we speak about. They are called as the ego states. Ego states are nothing but the mindsets with which people operate. Now, there is a parent ego state, there is an adult ego state, there is a child ego state. The parent ego state is coming from a lot of learned rules, values. This is like, okay, there is a lot of structural way of thinking in the parent ego state. The child ego state, let's not speak about the adult, but let's speak about the child. So there is parent, there is adult, there is child. Now, child ego state is more of emotion, whereas parent is more of logic and structure. Child is more of emotional things and early experiences that people, experience, all those things. Now, adult is something which is standing between parent and child. This is more logical and more balanced. Now, we speak about this. Now, based on this, there are around 16 transactions that we speak about. Combinations of what happens when a parent is interacting with a child, adult is interacting with a parent, and three of them are interacting. There are multiple transactions that we speak about. But to give you some high level examples, now say we have to empathize with someone. Definitely, that is a parent ego state. We have to be a nurturing parent when we are empathizing with someone, because we know that we have to empathize. And when listening, it's important to be in adult ego state, because we need that balanced, logical, rational approach when we are doing something. So these are some of the examples. Yeah, definitely transactional analysis is a bit vague, but still we use these techniques subconsciously, or even when, sometimes clients don't even understand that we are using them, but we teach them exactly what is required for them. So these are some things about transactional analysis.
Awesome. And we have had some incredible conversations so far, and it's time for us to add some more excitement and spice to the episode. So if you're ready, let me kick off the second rapid fire round.
Yes, Naveen, your energy keeps me going.
All right, here comes my first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
It would always say coaching mindset mentor, because right now I am in a mission to build this coaching mindset in individuals, managers, and leaders.
Wonderful. I love it. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Ever evolving.
Ever evolving. Okay. And a book that every aspiring leader should read.
What Got You Here Won't Get You There by Marshall Goldsmith. Again, that resonates with ever evolving mindset.
Absolutely. No, I love that book. I read it about 5 years ago, and I was super thrilled after reading that. In fact, it offers a lot, especially those who are stuck at the middle level management, right? So it has a lot of nuances which will help them elevate to the senior leadership roles. Of course. Wonderful. And the most underrated trait in effective leadership.
Listening.
Okay, one practical tip for better listening.
Listen not to respond, but listen to understand.
Best advice you have ever received on empathy.
Empathy is not about understanding someone, but it's also about feeling with them that you have. So I'll give you a very small example here. You don't have to say that, okay, oh my God, you're having headache. No, you have to say that, oh no, I know how it feels when you have headache. I've had it multiple times and it's so painful. I think there is a very thin line of difference between both of them. It's feeling for the person and with the person.
And what is your go-to method for managing stress?
I listen to music.
Okay, comes the last one. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself other than teleportation and time machine?
A gadget that can help people let it go, because letting it go is one of the most important things.
Superb. And after that amazing second rapid fire, let's flip back to the mainstream. So, Santosh, what would be your advice for someone new to adapting a coaching mindset in their daily interactions?
One thing would be, first understand the conceptual basis or the conceptual stuff which is related to adopting this. Now, in my case, it is the lead framework. Number two, craft a plan. How are you going to do it? It is not necessary that you start doing all the 4 things together. And sometimes some people will be able to do all the 4 things together. Some people would like to take one at a time and then go. Understand your style and then craft a plan. And number 3, of course, keep doing it and be consistent. So these are the 3 things.
Superb. I loved all the insights that you have shared, and especially the metaphors as well. And definitely looking forward to hosting you again in future. And how is your experience being hosted on TGV, the Guiding Voice?
As I said, right at the start, Naveen, it has been my wish or dream to be on this Guiding Voice podcast. And the way you have approached everything, right from filling that Google form to being available whenever I had any queries about the recording or the tool or anything, to the way you have planned for everything, I think the experience has been great. Like, as it is there, I think from 4 or 5 years, right? For the last 4 years. Yeah, 4.5 years. That professionalism shows there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a Six Sigma guy. So there is a process that I follow, that I've set up and I follow. And that is the reason we are able to expand to multiple languages as well. So once the process is well defined, you can just replicate it. Just the language will be different and people will be different, right? So amazing. All right. So Santosh, it was such a pleasure hosting you and looking forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Santosh Akella. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you haven't already subscribed to our podcast, please subscribe from wherever you have tuned in. And also, if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now it's time for us to hop into the trivia segment. So today's trivia is about 3 lesser known facts about Ratan Tata, a revered Indian business leader known for his empathy. And first fact is that he promoted employee welfare during crisis, especially after the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Tata extended aid to affected employees and their families, providing long-term support, and he ensured that everyone, including casual staff and street vendors near the hotel, received compensation. Second, he built India's most affordable car out of empathy. Tata developed the Tata Nano to provide safe and affordable transportation for families who used two-wheelers, and a project born from his concern for public safety. Third is about he declined lucrative opportunities against ethical concerns. Tata turned down investments and partnerships with companies that clashed with his ethical values, prioritizing integrity over potential profit. So, likewise, these are the interesting things about Mr. Ratan Tata, and I'm sure you must be knowing a few facts as well. And in case if you have anything to share, please share with me. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you have found this on audio platforms or on some social media platforms, you can comment there as well. I would love to read what you say. And apart from that, folks, if you have any great leaders whom you would like to recommend as a guest on the show, please let me know. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.